break about 5A football and Terrebonne being in 5A, and something intrigued you a little bit.
Yeah.
Terrebonne against Arceneaux, as you are a graduate of Terrebonne,
Yeah.
and in the early 70s, that was big.
Oh, I tell you what, that was in the 50s and 60s. Terrebonne and Arceneaux was probably the biggest rivalry. I don't know if it was Arceneaux's rivalry, but for Terrebonne, it was a big deal. I mean, it was, of course, you had whether it was Billy Cannon and all them guys back in those days, but Terrebonne could never beat Arceneaux. I mean, never could beat. It was a big deal. There was a guy named Fuzzy Brown who coached Arceneaux, and ended up my senior year, '69, we beat them. It was the only time. It was such a big deal. We have a picture in the yearbook with the football, with the score. I mean, that's how big a deal it was.
Well, Arceneaux was Baton Rouge's school.
Oh, yeah.
That was the big school in Baton Rouge, and now we just kind of diluted with schools and such.
But I mean, that was such a, I guess, it probably became a rivalry because of just the athletes who came out of Arceneaux back then. I mean, unbelievable. I could go on and on with them, but I don't want to take all the time. But man, and of course Terrebonne back then was strong too.
That's right.
So it really became a big rivalry. And
can you imagine at one time Terrebonne was the lone high school playing football in our parish? There are seven schools, 6 Louisiana High School Athletic Association schools and 1 from the Christian League. 7 schools playing football just in Terrebonne Parish.
Just an example, real quick, and I'll go back to my days. I mean, but we dressed out when I was a 10th grade, 120 players.
Really?
You know, because there was no bourgeois back then. All they had was Terrebonne, Vanderbilt.
South Terrebonne had just opened.
Just opened up. St. Joe was down there, but that really didn't bother anybody on this side, you know, because everybody, St. Joe probably heard South Terrebonne, if anything, back then. But Terrebonne was the only thing from Dunn Street to Shreva. I mean, you know.
And a lot of people in Terrebonne Parish don't even know what you say when you say St. Joe, but St. Joseph, Benedictine, I think they were the Black Knights.
Black Knights, Class B. Class B back then. Football, good teams.
Down in Chauvin, and growing up in Montague, I could remember when I was very little, everybody going out there. Don't tell somebody from Chauvin that wasn't a competitive high school.
If I told you the coaches who came out of there.
No joke.
You know, Sonny Jackson, Bob Grove, Gray Falls.
It goes down. Jackson Brumfield.
Yeah.
That was a ton of them.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. Let's move on to 3A football. First, the E.D. White district. And E.D. White, once again, not playing with Patterson. They probably had a little sigh of relief until they saw who else is in that district now. Bruley's playing Plaquemine Baker, Riverside Academy, St. James and Livonia, Donaldsonville, another good football team, Assumption, Dutchtown, Dunham, McDonough 35, very good in block. I know nothing about block. E.D. White has Vanderbilt, Assumption, Terrebonne, South Terrebonne, and Central. Port Allen may be the weak link in this particular district. They got Northwest Lena, Point Coupee Central, Crescent City, McMain, and White Castle. St. Charles opens up in Florida with a team against Florida called Tate. Then they play Vanderbilt, then they play North Shore, then they play Miller-McCoy, team that South Terrebonne plays, and then they play Jeanerette. And St. James will take on West, and that's always a big one right there, that first one that you see right there. Then they take on Destrehan, then they take on Patterson, then Vanderbilt, then Assumption. Toughest schedule?
Man, I tell you, I got to go with St. James, you know. I mean, West St. John's always good. Destrehan's always good. Patterson got a couple of, got a guy just signed with Florida State.
That's right.
A linebacker. Vanderbilt's going to be a good ball club. Assumption, always well coached, good. Looking at that, I guess either Bruley got a pretty tough one up there. Riverside Academy, St. James.
There's one thing, and I'll just throw in 2 cents in there. Port Allen definitely has the weakest schedule.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I mean, you know, McMain's not very good. White Castle, although they're good, they're only, now they won a state championship, but they're only 1A, so I don't know how much good that does you. Northwest Lena, I went look at their schedule from last year. That's bad. That's bad. So here we go. Now there is another 3A team in our area, and this one has Berwick and Patterson in it, but they get sent towards the Acadiana area, and although those guys will probably breathing a sigh of relief that they didn't have E.D. White, when you see their particular district, you go, wow, because it's a very good district. So let's go to that district. If I'm not mistaken, it's 9-3A. Abbeville. Abbeville's good. They have Iowa, Westlake, Rain, and South Terrebonne. That's game 10 on that schedule, or 9, I should say. Berwick has Chalmette, Morgan City, Central Catholic, and Hanson. Erath's been pretty good the last couple of years. They have Delcombe, Catholic of New Iberia, Vermilion Catholic, and Church Point. Franklin has West St. Mary, St. Martinville, Opelousas, and Morgan City. Kaplan Kaplan's a pretty good football team. The Pirates, they have Jeanerette, Church Point, St. Martinville, and West St. Mary. North Vermilion is a pretty good football team. Actually, my old high school baseball coach named Russell Pierce was, for you folks out there who are wondering whatever happened to Russell Pierce, he was actually volunteer coaching at North Vermilion very recently. So that'd be nice to see him if he comes around the area. Vermilion will be taking on Vermilion Catholic, Ville Platte, Catholic of New Iberia, and Loranger. And then Patterson has Crowley, and Crowley's gotten a lot better. Central Lafourche, St. James, Jeanerette, toughest schedule?
I tell you what, it's hard to say there. They're kind of all scattered out all over.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And the other thing is, we say in toughest schedule, it's almost like flipping a coin with some of them because they got some pretty good schedule. I mean, some of the teams that some of these folks are playing, right down the line, it's good football, good football. Let's go to single A. Now, in single A, we have two teams, but they're not playing in the same district in our viewing area. One is Central Catholic of Morgan City. Central Catholic stays in their particular district they've been playing in from the past, and it's the Acadiana district. They have Ascension Episcopal, and I'll let you kind of look over those teams, and we'll concentrate on Central Catholic. They have Laurelville, White Castle, Berwick, North Lake Christian, Ascension Catholic, and Fisher. I got to tell you, for as good as Central Catholic has been playing the last few years, there is nobody there that they can't beat in pre-district. Now, Berwick might have something to say about that playing 3A football, but they played in the past, and Central Catholic has done pretty well against Berwick. So that's going to be interesting because, quite honestly, except for maybe Vermilion Catholic in their district, I think they can wipe out the district, too.
I said that North Lake Christian's a good ball club.
Are they?
Sure, yeah.
I heard it's a school that's rapidly growing, too.
Look, if you watch their sports, you know, they're getting better every year over there. So
I agree.
That's a good little school.
There's two schools up there, North Lake Christian being one of them, and the other one is a school that used to be in Moreau, but it got sent out, and that's Hannon. Hannon actually had to drop all the way down. They didn't even play football a couple of years, but they've started again, and they're starting to really come along. So Hannon's a name you're starting to see kind of in the quarterfinals, maybe in the semifinals in state competition. So that is District 8, 1A. Then we have a District 10, 1A. So you folks are going to have to forgive me when it comes time to football season because we have a lot of districts in our area. This is the district that houses Homer Christian. And there you see the teams. Country Day. Country Day is good, folks. Yeah. Country Day is a school out in Metairie that does it right, and they compete. As a matter of fact, on the single A level, they won the most state championships in sports this year, all sports combined this year. Crescent City, probably not as strong, but a good little school. Ecole Classique sometimes sneaks up on you in some things. Then you see Homer Christian. This year, Homer Christian will play 9 games. Obviously, all of their district games. In addition, they will play False River Academy, who just lost their football coach, who is now going to be the head baseball coach at Catholic of Baton Rouge. So False River is actually in transition right now. Then you see Hannon, and Hannon's getting better. Now, it's not the Hannon of old. It's not the Hannon of, 8 years ago that played over in the Chalmette area. They're now on the North Shore, but they're getting better. And Haynes, and if you'll notice, just about every one of these teams has Haynes, and I know nothing about Haynes.
Yeah, Haynes is a New Orleans school. It's a small, it's naturally small as 1A. But they take some pretty good beatings every year. Yeah.
These teams,
Grace King.
I'm looking at the teams they play. These teams all want to beat up on our forefathers because I see Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and.
Well, but like Ben Franklin, those guys, the Prep Quiz Bowl, you don't want to be in that against them guys in that.
Bobby said that. I didn't say that. But no, I will say this, and I spoke to him actually at y'all 9th grade. For you folks who don't know, Bobby also is the head coach of Homer Junior High's softball team, and I went to your 9th grade tournament, which was run very well, by the way. And I saw Chad Colley, and Chad Colley is over there helping at Homer Christian this year. Yeah. And I think they're going to do good things.
Oh, they
will. Really think they're going to do good things. I don't know if they preferred being in the New Orleans side or the Acadiana side, meaning I don't know if they wanted to go towards Central Catholic of Morgan City, because that's who they actually played. I think they played Berwick's JV and Hanson a few times. Yeah. But they're going the other way now. They're going towards New Orleans.
I was talking to Chuck about that, and I just said, Chuck, I don't know about how you feel, but I'm glad you are where you are, because that is some good schools, that you play in. You'll draw some good crowds, and it's going to be some good teams to play. And I think he kind of agreed. They're all close. I mean, nobody's further than New Orleans, really.
Right,
you know?
right.
And my own opinion, I think you're in a good district right here. You know?
Very good. And that's Chuck Battaglia, who's
Yeah.
actually athletic director over there at Houma Christian. Very good, very good. Got to take a commercial break. Going to get to a couple of other things. The Zephyrs in action just can't get over the 500 mark, but they're trying. They're trying. We'll talk about that and other stuff when we get back from this break.